Colby Salerno is a young man that really got hit with something at a really young age that most of us never want to get hit with, and that is finding out that your heart isn't going to work properly and you need a heart transplant. His is a compelling story of bravery. A boy diagnosed with a rare heart disease at the age of 12 undergoes life-threatening surgery at 22 years old, and it's just the beginning of his adventure.
My son is magnificent. He's my only son. He's been sick his whole life. We didn't know he was sick till he was 12. My husband and him are sports addicts. So he played a lot of soccer. He had a hard time breathing, and he used to tell us that his legs were weak and he couldn't catch up with his friends. And so they told us he had exercise-induced asthma.
He was such a good athlete when he was younger, and this thing just kind of crept up. It got to the point where I could see something wrong. He wasn't like he used to be.
We found out later on, a few years later, that the only way to save Colby was to have a new heart, and he needed a heart transplant.
When the doctor gave us the verdict, Kelly and I were both crying, and I remember this like it was yesterday. We were walking out to the parking lot. Colby's between us, and he has his arms around both of us, and he said, "It's not worth dying over." You know, because we were just so sad for him not being able to play anymore when they told him that, and he put it all in perspective.
I was in a state of shock. I was scared out of my mind, and they admitted him, and he was in there for 180 days.
Too sick to leave the hospital, Colby spent 6 months waiting for a heart.
I had gone 10 years of having a horribly sick heart, and it kind of was just what I was used to. At that point, though, I was aware that I needed a new heart, so obviously I was more afraid than I would have been. But knowing that I was in heart failure and stuff, you know, it was much scarier, realizing that I couldn't even walk on level streets, you know, let alone hills and staircases and stuff without struggling to breathe.
It was so grueling and so hard. I have to say, in 180 days, he only had one bad day. I probably had a bad day every day. He had one bad day.
You know, I've heard stories, I read stories about people dying waiting, and it's, you know, I know Kel never lost faith, and I never lost faith, but I just worried. I just didn't want to be, you know, in that situation.
Colby isn't your typical patient. I mean, a lot of the patients, they just stayed in their room and they were very down. He never did that. There was a sign on his room that said, "The party's here." And he was the youngest on the floor in intensive care. He just seemed to say, if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna make the best of it.
We were driving home after visiting him that night, and on the highway, they called, and it was Kel's phone had said it was Colby, and it's like, why would Colby be calling now? We just saw him. And then the light bulb went off, and he said they got a heart, and we turned around and went running back to the hospital, and the doctor said, go home and get some rest, because it's not going to happen probably till the next day or whatever, but things are looking really good. And it was really funny. We were all nervous and worried, and we walked into his room, and he was as calm and as positive as anybody could be. And right then and there, I knew he'll be all right. He'll get through this.
The recovery was much better than the wait. I was ready to be out of the hospital in 10 days. Took an extra 4 just to make sure, so I left the hospital in 14 days, even though I had just stayed in it for 180. And then I went home, started walking. My whole life I wasn't able to run long distances, but now I can run 5Ks. I started skiing for the first time. You know, just everything that I thought was completely gone from my life was now, I was given a second chance to try all these new things.
He has a dream to fulfill. His life was saved. He didn't die. I still have him. So I have to let him fulfill his dream. And his dream is to be a doctor.
The idea is to help kids who have been in my situation. And when you go in, you meet a doctor, You know, they try and tell you that things are going to be okay, and you can't help but doubt them and be like, how do you really know? You've never been where I have been. Well, that's what I hope to change. I hope to, you know, be able to look kids in the eye. I really want to work with young children and stuff who, like, because when I was 12, I remember it being so hard. You didn't really understand everything. But I'm going to be their doctor now who can explain to them, I've been where you have been, I made it through, and we're going to, you know, work on this together to make sure you get through it as well.
I can't wait for the day when he puts that coat on and it says MD. It's just going to be worth everything we went through.
Colby's dream of becoming a doctor is an admirable one, and he just started attending Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine. But it won't be easy. Colby's medications make him vulnerable to viruses and bacteria, and of course, medical school is not cheap, and Colby's looking at a mountain of medical care debt. So in order to help him, I recruited Hall of Fame pitcher Goose Gossage. With Colby's mother's help, we brought him and his family to NYY Steak in New York City, my favorite restaurant, in order to surprise Colby with my newest hookup. As soon as they were done eating, we went right into action. Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Brandon Steiner, how are you?
Nice to meet you, sir.
What's up, Goose?
Colby, how you doing, buddy?
Goose Gossage.
How's it going, pal? How's everything? Yeah. My pleasure, buddy.
Nice
We've
to meet you.
heard a lot about your story, and I'm just so impressed with what you've had to go through and
Thank
endure.
you.
And
Thank you so much.
great Yankee fan, and
Huge
you got
Yankee
your
fan.
pinstripes on, I think.
We wanted to help you out. We know that
I got chills, man.
You have chills.
I got goosebumps.
We wanted to
No
congratulate
pun
you.
intended.
We wanted to help you out, so we're doing a couple things. Goose and I figured we'd get together. First thing we do is we're going to give you $10,000. And the second thing we're going to do is we're going to be doing an auction on your behalf. What I love is the work you've done to make, make awareness for people to donate their organs. And it's just tremendous what you've done. Your commitment to go back into medicine and help others. So we're going to be doing an auction with all kinds of memorabilia, and we got Mitch Modell donating a ball boy experience at the Nets. Goose is going to sign some stuff. We've got a whole bunch of Hall of Famers that have donated signed balls. So along with this $10,000, we also got a Mac Pro for you to get yourself started at med school. So I figure you need that just to get kind of going. But Goose, am I forgetting anything here?
No, I think there's quite a bit here, but yeah, congratulations and good luck in school. And what you're doing is just amazing to give back, and that's what I enjoy now that my career is over, and giving back. And anytime I can, lend my name to anything like this, especially, is my pleasure. And it's great to be here this afternoon on behalf of Brandon Steiner and Steiner Sports and the New York Yankees.
You know something, we're going to get behind your efforts and see if we can, raise awareness and get you through medical school, which is the most important thing, because we know how expensive it is.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to hug you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Well, thank you. After hooking Colby Salerno up, Goose Gossage stuck around to enjoy the food at the fabulous NYY Steak and discuss with me his career and his immortalization at Yankee Stadium. Goose Gossage, we just hooked Colby up with a little startup for his medical education. How great was that?
Oh, you told me it was a heck of a story, and getting to know the family a little bit, and this little visit that we had is just amazing. And what he's accomplished, baseball was a silly game compared to what this young man has gone through, and what he's accomplished and what he's going to accomplish, continue accomplishing. Going to school, he wants to have that rapport that the doctors really don't have with their patients. That if you've had a heart transplant and to know what that family has gone through, the mother and the father and the kid, the siblings, it's just an amazing story, and thanks for letting me be a part of this.
It was special. I love that he took his adversity and turned it into his advantage, and I just love his commitment to just helping others, which is what it's all about. I'm talking about helping others before. I have a bunch of things I want to ask you.
Yeah.
We got to start with his auction. We're going to be
Yeah.
doing a whole auction on SteinerSports.com. We'll start off with a Hall of Fame ball. and a quick photo maybe for the auction as well. So what's great about this auction is that all the proceeds are going to go to Colby's medical education and help him go through med school, because it's so expensive now to go to med school. So we have a whole bunch of items you'll see on steinersports.com, and 100% of all the money is going to go to help pay for Colby.